Welcome back to the Living ABSD podcast. I'm your host, AB, short for ABSD, they, them pronouns. And this podcast has the intention of helping teach people how to begin to create a new standard direction of living for their own lives through love, healing, and personal responsibility. It's such a joy and gift to be back in this space today talking about what is co creation. I genuinely love co creating. It is something that I find so fun to play with in this process of being a spiritual being. So, before we dive in, let's tune in and breathe together. The invitation is to close your eyes and to breathe along with me, unless you're driving a car, of course. We'll take 3 deep grounding breaths together. All right, let's breathe. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. 2 more deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. I call upon my divine spirit team and guides, angels, ancestors, God, universe, creator, source, invisible forces, rainbow spiral, and any energy that vibrates at divine love or higher who wishes to enter into this podcasting space with me today. I invite in co-creation to play. What wants to come through and flow through me as a channel, this wisdom that I've lived and learned from other people, and get to share in this space. Let it find all who is meant to find it in the right time, right space, so that it may create some curiosity and move through each being with a new lens on what life could be when we step into this co-creation space. And so it is. I don't know if I have taken that deep of a breath all day, so I think I need one more. Okay, that felt good. I love co-creation, as I said, and I'm excited to see what wants to flow through this teaching around my relationship with this concept. I really see co-creation as such a gift. And I mean, let's be real, if you've been following along with my work, I find a lot of things as a gift because each one carries such different meaning and it excites me for different reasons. When I first learned that I was co-creating my reality, my own internal world was rocked. I genuinely was a little bit upset when I first heard this because my own thoughts, actions, and beliefs were sending a signal out to the universe for what I was available for, and I did not really like my life very much at that time. Ouch. This shattered me for a while. When I learned of this concept, I was at the beginning of my mindset journey and was honestly annoyed by it, which genuinely, a lot of these concepts, when they first entered into my life, I was a little bit annoyed or irked or just kind of in disbelief that it could be that easy because my brain was making things so much bigger and harder and more challenging than they actually needed to be. And so learning of some of the simplicity that brought ease through these concepts, it honestly annoyed me. I do want to give a caveat that not everything is within our control. We know this. I definitely have a tendency of trying to control things that are non-controllable. And in general, some of this may activate people because, yeah, you might be living in a life and a reality right now that feels very out of your control. And so if this is activating you, let it activate you. And that's okay to be exactly where you are. There's activation that comes in most of the topics I teach on. And so this one is a little bit different in the way that when we're talking about creating our own reality of Maybe the reality you're living in right now are so out of your control, and some shit is so fucking awful that we cannot hold co-creation of those things. I agree. Do not. Yet, I do want to encourage you that once you learn about these concepts, there are ways that we can begin to integrate them into our life, even if we're in some shitty and out of control situations. And the seeds that we plant now, while they do have a maturation period before they enter into our reality, they are still worthwhile to being watered, even in some of the shittiest situations. But not every single thing is in our control. And some things we come in with soul contracts with that are lessons that our soul signed up to learning in this lifetime. And those things are painful and shitty and harmful. And yeah, I'm not going to deny that, or also deny just like how our world is on fire right now. But I also believe that once we are aware of these concepts, if we believe them to be true, they are true. So we can use the power of our own bodies, thoughts, and actions to help create a reality that is supportive of ourselves. This does not come without challenge, and if you're in a situation right now that is unsafe or unsupportive, I encourage you to ask for help. Okay, now that we've gotten some of that out of the way, which was very important, what exactly is co-creation? Well, our realities are a collaborative process with the universe. How we live our lives determines the energy we are available to receive in return. With this energetic exchange, there's a maturation process that occurs. So the current reality we're living in was cultivated by our past thoughts and beliefs. The future reality we will live in is created by the version of self that is living right now. I find this really interesting because I have had a hard couple of days, couple of weeks really, because I've been in this contraction where I'm integrating a lot of things, and old lessons are coming up and being invited in, and I'm in this interesting spot where I can see all of the work that I have done previously and the way that it has served me, but how some of that creation is no longer in alignment with what I need now, because as we contract and expand, as we expand into new places and spaces, our reality has to shift in order for us to be able to hold the new. And so my reality is wanting to shift to hold what's next for me, but I'm still in this reality that is not able to really hold me fully. But it was holding me fully before. And so it's this constant in and out of energy exchanging that is being co-created with the universe of what is next for me and my life, for you and your life, and exactly where you are right now. It kind of makes my head spin a little bit. And, as I was talking about earlier of how some of this just annoys me. Yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed right now. I take it as a gift when I'm in this annoyance stage and in this contraction place, because I know that means expand, which I'm grateful to be in the co-creation of, yet it's just uncomfortable. Okay, I digress and return back. So some energy returns immediately. There have been times when I have acted in a way that is not in my highest alignment and have faced consequences of that same day, which I can almost always, now that I have been doing this work for multiple years, pinpoint what I did that caused that energy to return back to me. There are other times I have taken aligned action to further myself, and have seen impacts of that come years later or even minutes later. I had a friend recently feel a nudge by spirit to stop working with a few clients to create more space for her sacred dance work. She took some action and messaged those clients to begin the process of not working with them any longer. Within the hour, a new booking came through that supported her sacred dance. This is a confirmation wink from the universe that she made the right decision and took action in alignment. A beautiful example of co-creation, and how sometimes it can be very immediate. And It's a gift when that happens, but we're not instant gratification creatures. And so we have to be willing to release the immediacy that our human brains always want to call in, which, yeah, I always want things to happen immediately too. But that's not reality because the way that we hold time is not the same that the universe holds time. This concept of time was created by humans to help us conceptualize the patterns of this life that we're living, but the way that universal energy works and time on in deep time and space is not the same in our own bodies. And so something that might happen in deep space might be moments, while for us it's years. And we have to be willing to not have attachment to the time around it, but just be in the creation of our own lives with the universe as we can. So everything carries energy. The way we interact with energy determines the way that the universe can play. I love playing with the universe. I love being in play with this energy. I find it so fun. We can only allow energies into our field that match the energy we are vibrating at. Your frequency is a signal, and things that match that signal are magnetized to it. If you're asking for something that is at a frequency you are not currently at, Spirit will work in your life to arrange you to be able to hold that thing you are asking for, which requires shifting your frequency into new alignments. I've seen this time and time again in my own life where I'm asking for something from Spirit. I'm manifesting something into my reality, and I watch my life shift and change so that I can grow into holding the thing that I'm asking for. Because when I first start to call it into my life, it's not at a match vibrationally with me. But as we grow into expanding our vibration, vibrating at a higher frequency, we start to adjust to that frequency the more that we go there. And then the more time that you spend at that frequency, the more your body adjusts to it as being your norm. Then that just becomes your new normal resting place. And we keep going through this as we transcend and include the things that we're learning. The way we speak to ourselves is a potent energy. If we're constantly living in the lies of our own mind that are bringing us down, telling you that you're not enough or worthy or of good things happening, it is going to be hard energetically for good things to enter into your reality that are at a different vibrational match than the thoughts that are happening in your mind. These thoughts are lies, and we can constantly live in them, or we can acknowledge them and address our mind, thank it into safety, and move to a different thought that is more supportive of our greatest good. You know, I got to plug the Catalyze Awakening program. This is stuff we talk about in the program, and it's a bite-sized piece where you can consume it and enter it into your own life with a challenge and a journal prompt and an affirmation to help you integrate these concepts. I find it very accessible to meeting you where you are, especially if the way that you speak to yourself is something that you currently struggle with. Our inner dialogue that we carry within ourselves matters energetically, especially within the concept of co-creation. I love when Spirit brings in messages in multiple places in our lives, and I've really witnessed this recently within the book that I'm reading, Earth is Hiring by Peter Kelly. Her magic question that she likes to ask and encourages us to ask as well is, how does it get any better than this? In any moment, asking this question and inviting the universe into playing with the possibilities for the limitless answers to this magic question. I love the quote she writes on page 81. calling it the magic question might feel a little woo-woo voodoo for you, but the truth is that it's a very intentional and purposeful question. It puts you in the driver's seat and reminds you that you are leading your life. You get to choose: consciously expand or subconsciously sabotage. Watch things get better than this, or stick with this because this is fine, good enough, right? You decide. I love this idea of consciously expanding or subconsciously sabotaging, because if we're not conscious, we are in our subconscious and we may be sabotaging ourselves without even realizing it. And so opening yourself up to even shifting into your conscious awareness that this is something that is possible for you in your life will start to shift you into more expansion. I really appreciate this quote because it reminds me that we are leading our own life. The questions we ask, the choices we make are all a part of this greater concept of co-creation. Life is not just happening to us, but we have the power to be intentional with our life and choose something different. We decide. Sometimes in the midst of life, it can get very muddled because so much external influence is coming into our world that it can be easy to forget how much power you truly carry. And that's one of the reasons I love co-creation, is that it reminds us of how powerful we are as individual beings on this planet, because we are constantly having an energetic exchange with ourselves, with others, with the earth, with the universe, with spirit, with invisible forces. Everything that is around us, we're co-creating our own reality with. And when I started to actually integrate this concept into my life, reminder, when I did, I was very annoyed. Remember, I was annoyed by how I was creating my life at that time and the way that I would talk down on myself, or the things that I would be willing to put up with because I thought I had to, or obligation, or maybe I was sacrificing myself to people please others, so because I thought that's what I had to do. And when I realized that I could start calling in things that were in my highest alignment and co-create with the universe and use my energy and my spirit to bring in new concepts and thoughts and ideas and a new reality, quite literally everything in my reality did change. When I started to manifest in this way and work with co-creation, my housing environment changed, my work environment changed, my internal environment changed, the ecosystem within the relationships I carried, the people I hung around, the way that I interacted with food and movement. Truly, the things that I started to be available for shifted because I started to co-create with my reality and stopped settling. We settle so much because we think we have to, but we don't have to. And in the process of realizing that we can have higher standards for ourselves and our life, we realize that by doing that, we are in co-creation with all. Since reading that quote, I have had this song lyric, how does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? Running through my mind, which is a gift because it has continued to prompt me to ask that question. PETA talks about how in a given day, she will ask herself that question 10 plus times. And in every moment, whether that moment is like the biggest and greatest thing that just happened of how can it even get better than this, or the moments where it might be a little stinky, how can it get better than this? And so prompting this question inside of myself, it's actually been really good for me as I've been navigating this contraction. It's for me to sit with this magic question and open myself up to the possibilities of more, because I'm constantly calling in more into my life. because I have the belief that life gets to constantly get better and better. And what we believe is true. What we believe about ourselves, what we believe about others, what we believe about our reality, what we believe about energy and spirit and everything. It does become our truth. And that's the same thing like within religions, the things that you believe there become your truth. And so I do choose to believe that my life keeps getting better and better. And because that's a choice that I have made, I really have gotten to witness how my life keeps getting better and better. And in part of that, it's because that I keep showing up to co-creating with the universe, which I love. I love getting to be in play with the universe and with myself. It makes life fun. It makes life worth living. And I think that all beings, human beings, are here to actually live. Not only do I find comfort in the fact that there is energy working on my behalf constantly to bring in goodness in my life through the words I speak, the actions I take, thoughts I think, but that comfort extends to knowing that at any moment I am in, I can create with a universal power that is so much bigger than my understanding could ever hold in this reality. And I love to live in that space. I love to know I love to be in the knowing that there is so much that I don't know. I love to understand that that I could possibly never understand it all. Because there's so much beauty in the fertile void of the nothingness of and the everythingness that our human brains try to conceptualize, but we will never actually be able to have full conception around what these things and the power behind it really holds, which is such a fun thing for me to be tapping into with this rainbow spiral work methodology that I'm creating, because there's so much that's out of my understanding, but this energy keeps inviting me into more. And I love creating my own reality through the more and the space in between. So, my friends, how are you going to take hold of the driver's seat of your life? How can you begin to ask new questions, or maybe even the magic one spoken here today? How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? Or other questions to begin to co-create a reality that holds you and your dreams. Remember, the seeds we plant today take time to grow. Keep planting and watering. The universe is on your side. Spirit is with you, listening and working out the how. The how is not your responsibility, which genuinely I am so grateful that that is the case, because having to constantly figure out the how, that would be exhausting. I love being able to release the how and say, okay, help me co-create it. I'm going to keep showing up to action. And thank you for meeting me in that action. Co-creation. Sink into trust and belief that co-creation is alive just as we are. It is alive and well, just as the web is webbing all the time. So is this divine orchestration that is happening in the unseen realms to help us live into our fullness of being. The maturation period is something that I talk about also in Catalyze Awakening, because it can be very discouraging at times when you are in this new mindset and you are like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm weeding out my garden. I'm navigating these thoughts that are no longer serving me. I'm showing up to action in a new way. I feel like I'm expanding. And then you might have a couple of days where you're back in this old reality and you are like, what the hell happened? But when you think about a slingshot, like we pull back before it takes off. And so this pulling back does happen, and it reminds us how we really want to show up, and is the invitation to continue co-creating even when we are in the pullback, the contraction, the growth under the surface before we can actually see it, but trusting that the work you are doing is doing something. That was really difficult for me at the beginning of my journey, was not seeing the results. But I promise you, if you continue showing up to it, those results do come. They come for every single one of us in different amounts of time and different ways, but it is guaranteed that the way that you continue shifting your energy and choosing different and choosing co-creation, choosing gratitude, choosing a life that is more aligned with you and your needs being met, beautiful things come from those places. All right, my friends, with that, have so much fun playing with co-creation today and seeing how else that appears and pops into your life. This garden that you are growing is fucking beautiful, and I can't wait to see how our gardens get to create fun ecosystems together. Well, if you are not familiar with A Better Standard Direction yet, please go to our website at abetterstandarddirection.com. We would love to have you a part of this work and movement, have your unique energy and gifts inside of this container. And check out all of our other offerings. There are a lot of new fun things popping up online all throughout the year. So I would love for you to continue checking back in with us there. If you'd like to email me for further connection, to partner on something, cross-pollinate, or even to call me in or out for something that I've talked about in this podcast episode or any of the podcasts, please email me at absd@abetterstandarddirection.com. I love hearing from y'all. With that, go out, love loudly, be your beautiful, authentic self. The world needs you as you, the unique thumbprint that you have to offer. Nobody else gets to bring the gifts that you specifically cultivate through your magic and through the co-creation with all. Be awesome. I love you. Till next time. Bye.